global markets recalibrating around trade tensions, they have many investors rethinking how and where to allocate capital, particularly outside of the U.S. in emerging markets. We're navigating how to play the space with the Yahoo Finance playbook. Joining us now, Jason Su, CIO and founder at Rayliant. Thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
So we've had this whole big discussion about the U.S. Not as many, perhaps, investors as interested in the U.S. International markets have been starting to gain a little bit of steam here. So before we get to sort of some specific ideas within emerging markets, talk to me, first of all, big picture, how you think about the emerging markets right now versus investing in U.S. or in other developed markets for that matter.
Yeah, so I would say for the last 15 years, right, if you believed in international diversification, bought into the EM growth story, you'd be hating yourself right now, right? Because the U.S. absolutely trumps emerging markets. But there was a 10-year prior to that where EM outperformed the U.S. by 9% per annum for about 10 years running. I think that cycle is coming back. So for those who are under-diversified to EM, to U.S. home country bias, I think this is time again to look at EM. I think the big AI super cycle and startup super cycle is deploying hardware everywhere. Asia has always been hardware, and that's led by EM Asia.
Let me ask you, Jason, I'm curious, what if on this trade fight and this tariff fight, Trump really hasn't retreated at all? What if he's really just called a truce? It's like a temporary reprieve. He just built a little window in where he'll try to punch through this tax bill. And as soon as the tax bill gets punched through, and he doesn't see Xi and others giving him the kind of concession he wants, hey, he just brings down that tariff pain all over again. Would that change your outlook on EM?
Yeah, so if somehow President Trump is more of a purist when it comes to having no trade deficit, then I think it's quite scary, right? And I think this is bad news for Asia. But I don't think he's that, right? He's very practical. I think he's moved on from the trade war, right? He is now in Middle East telling everyone in Middle East loves me. They're kissing my butt. They're giving me airplanes and big deals and buying Boeings. You know, I think he's way past.
He was in his element, Jason.
He was
doubt.
Awesome, right?
So
I think he's moved on, and he doesn't want to drag out this fight with Xi because he realized he probably didn't get very much from all that work. So I am really not very concerned that we're going to go back to a round two.
So if in fact that's the case then, so if you're looking within emerging markets, what kind of criteria are you using? What kind of names are you looking for that might benefit from that AI hardware cycle you're talking about?
So first of all, I mean, I think you want to focus in the tech sector. And so in a lot of emerging markets, right, it's actually a lot of boring, stale enterprise, giant financials. That's not where you want to fish right now. So it's quality tech companies that have always had superior tech leadership, manufacturing capabilities. That's where you really want to look. And of course, Asia is trading cheap, especially China is trading very cheap coming out of COVID. They've just had policy mistakes after policy mistakes, bad sentiment. So this is a great place where value stocks are about to hit some catalysts.
And some names, Jason, that I know you like, Alibaba. You look at that one, you say that's attractive, that's an opportunity. How come?
So first of all, I mean, in some ways, Alibaba has become synonymous with China. So most of us, when you say, oh, what is one stock you can sort of recall when people say China, they probably say Baba, right? What a great ticker. And so in some ways, when people go, you know, maybe it's time for me to bottom fish and sort of bet on the recovery of China, I think Baba just being synonymous with China is going to benefit a lot from there. And of course, you know, I think Baba's got so many things going on with Jack Ma being in the good grace of Beijing again. I think that's always a positive. So that's one reason we like Baba.
And the other one that you like is BYD, which has certainly gotten a lot of attention. The sales in China have been strong. What do you think the future looks like for that one?
So one thing people probably don't realize is, you know, China now exports more cars than Japan, so it's the #1 car exporter, and BYD has become one of the very big, right? I think BYD is going to be Toyota in the future, just in the EV space, and that is tremendous growth opportunity. You know, I think they have a leadership position right now in autonomous driving. Obviously, you know, testing out driving conditions in China. If you can drive autonomously in China, you can probably drive almost anywhere, and so that's why we really like it. It is, I think, the Toyota of the future, and its sort of leadership in autonomous driving, I think that has tremendous value.
Jason, great to see you. Appreciate your time and those picks. That was great.
Absolutely.